Okay, so welcome everyone. We are streaming live on Facebook. My name is Janice Amirault, and I am the founder of Janice Inspiring Change. My website is janiceinspiringchange.com. And in mid-December or so, I was inspired to do something to bring change to people in the new year. The last year was challenging, and I thought, what can I do to help people get on the right track in the new year? So I thought, why not interview some holistic health practitioners and bring what they offer to you. So Inspiring Change 2021 was born. And today I have Sherri Sim with me. Hi, Sherri.
Hi, Janice.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Sherri and I met, I guess, at the Yarmouth Farmers Market. She has her offerings there. She makes jewelry, beads, mala beads, and she has a book we'll talk about. And so we just kind of connected and had a conversation, and then we met for coffee, and we've been having some great chats ever since. So today I'm going to talk to Sherri and pick her brain about what she does. And but first I'll introduce you with her bio. So Sherri is a holistic practitioner. She is a Reiki teacher, a certified yoga instructor, and a reflexologist. She offers shiatsu massage, chakra balancing, sacred dance, and meditation. Wow, Sherri, that's amazing. She is the author of Spirituality for Simon and currently is working on a sequel. Wow, that's really exciting too. She was born in Ontario and she moved to Nova Scotia 3 years ago via Peru, South America, which is very interesting. I hope to learn a little bit more about why you moved to Peru. She currently resides in Clare, and her website is www.elementalgifts.ca, or she has another website which is spiritualityforsimon.com. So welcome, Sherri. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Janice. I really appreciate this. It's a great opportunity to talk, get to know the community, for you and I to talk more, and for me to get really outside of my comfort zone doing this live interview. So thanks for this opportunity to really step up. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad you joined me. So you are so talented. My goodness, all of these disciplines that you have under your belt. So tell me about your business and what exactly you do.
Okay. So the name Elemental Gifts comes from gifts from nature. And the business actually started, just me making small crafts, things I found, on walks. And I just find, if I pick up a rock, for me, that is a huge gift from nature. So that's where the name Elemental Gifts came from. And I did my reflexology certification first. That was in 2012. And that was the beginning of my holistic practice. And in Peru, I got a number of other modalities. Modalities kind of means trainings and certifications. In Reiki, my yoga teacher training, I did a theta healing training, shiatsu, and just added all that. So now I refer to myself as a holistic practitioner. And by holistic, I mean we treat the whole system. We treat mind, body, and spirit. Okay, not just treating health, but promoting wellness. There's so much more to health than just the physical body. There's wellness of the whole being. And so through my treatments, Reiki, reflexology, I do those in person and some of them in distance. I do those in Sonyaville out of Laser Hair Professionals building up there. I'm offering Reiki trainings in person and on live chat like this for people who, aren't able to travel or, because of the current restrictions, things like that. And I've got a couple of recent online offerings that I've just started doing, a way for people to, make a change for themselves. Really, the change starts with us. I think you appreciate that very well, huh, Janice? Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So what is your mission with everything that you do? What is your mission?
I'm really glad that was one of the questions that you put out there, because I know in my heart what my mission is, and I know in my mind what it is. But to verbalize it, I really had to sit with that. And it is to teach and share what I know and love. It's to inspire others and to raise the vibration of the collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that last sentence is a mouthful, but what I mean by that is the way I'm going to raise the vibration of the collective is by working on myself, by raising my own vibration. Everything starts with us. The expression like, be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes.
We have to be that change. I need to raise my vibration in order for vibration to rise. So that kind of explains that a little bit.
Yeah, that's such a good way of putting it, Sherri. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So here's a question about looking at, well, first of all, we've been on for about 5 minutes. Let me just reintroduce you if someone's joining us late. I'm talking with Sherri. She's a holistic practitioner. She's trained in Reiki and reflexology, chakra, meditation, and sacred dance. And we're chatting about all of the wonderful things that Sherri does. So you mentioned the mind, body, spirit approach to, and that's what holistic means. And so if you can share with us what you see as the reason for the importance of that, rather than just treating the body.
Okay, that is a great question. And how I would word that, well, there is more to us than just the flesh and bones. There is a being inside of us. We can be very healthy physically, eating all the right foods, doing all the right exercise. But if we're not happy and at peace with ourselves and inside, illness will still set in. So that's how there is much more to it than just physical health, which is very, very important, because without the body, we're done. We're over, so it's very important to take care of the body. But there's more to us than just the flesh and bones. There's a being inside.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't know about you, but I hear people say, I don't know why this is happening to me, or why I have this condition, or whatever it might be, because I eat really well, I exercise all the time. And so when we look at the mind, body, spirit approach, then that's where we can dig a little deeper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me to my next question, and you can expand on this, because a lot of people have heard of Reiki, but they don't know what Reiki actually is. There's so many questions. First of all, the word doesn't really mean anything to a lot of people. They've never, it's just not a word we grew up with, some of us, depending on where we grew up. So what is Reiki? Explain that to us.
Okay. So Reiki, in just a couple words, is subtle energy. And there's a number of steps that I'll go through kind of explaining, because it is quite deep and really rather elusive. So Reiki is a Japanese word, and it's broken down in two words, rei and ki. So Ray means universal, spirit, source, divine. And Ki is life force energy. So many people may have heard of like, so Ki or Chi or Prana all mean life force energy. So Tai Chi is life force energy. Reiki is divine life force energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that explains what the word Reiki is.
Mm-hmm.
Reiki as a modality or a system, and what I mean by that, like a treatment, it's a meditative, compassionate spiritual practice that promotes, it reduces stress, relieves pain, and enhances the body's own natural healing functions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Reiki, like as a system or a treatment. But Reiki can also be like a practice, and it's a way of life towards enlightenment. It's your path to, the words have been used, to personal perfection. And I don't want perfection to be, this unattainable goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a path towards perfection. So we may never get there, but we're on that road.
Right. So those people out there who are thinking that those who have never had a Reiki session before and you've inspired them or sparked their interest a little bit, and but they want to know a few things. I used to be an esthetician. I did work with body treatments, and a lot of people were uncomfortable because they didn't know if they were going to be naked or not in the treatments. And so when it comes to massage and Reiki, that's often a question that people who've never had a session before have. And they're embarrassed to ask that question. They're not going to call and say, "Oh, hi, Sherri, I'd like to have treatment, but what do I wear?" And, so just give us a sense of what a treatment is like from the time the person walks in, because I think it's important to ease that, those questions for people.
I am really glad you asked that, because like you'd said earlier, we understand our field. So to us, we already know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. So when a person comes to me, first, I would like to say that Reiki being divine love, divine light, divine wisdom, those are the energies that I call in. Those are the energies that I try to match so I can hold space for those energies to come in. So being these high vibration energies, nothing will happen against someone's free will. Okay, so whatever they're open to is all that will come. And so when you decide to come to me for a session, I welcome you in, have you sit down, talk about an intention, but I'll explain, you remain fully clothed. You'll be on the table face up. There's a cover for you. I say that you're in control of the session at all times. You can ask me questions. You can move, scratch, wiggle, sneeze, just to give that that feeling of control. Actually, you're in control. I'm holding the space.
Right.
So depending on what people are open to, they may feel sensations. They may feel a tingling. They may feel a warmth or a lightness. It's usually very, very relaxing, very, very peaceful. Time seems to go by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I will touch the body like head, face, neck, back of head, arms, but I don't have to. I basically never touch from the neck, down to the hips. And I usually tell people, then I may touch your knees and your feet. So you know exactly where I will and won't be touching. And I don't actually have to touch at all. So if people are in pain or very, very uncomfortable, I can hover, because it's my intention that the divine wisdom and love is coming to do for them what they've asked for.
Right.
So I'm not required to do any kind of manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually divine spirit coming in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that really puts people's minds at ease because, again, there's a lot of people who are uncomfortable, and if they're scared, they want maybe to have a treatment, but they're really not sure what it's all going to entail. And your description is perfect. And as you were explaining it, I was walking through the time that I went to see you and the beautiful room you had, and the big thick blankets that you had, and the energy of the space. And I was thinking, I was right back there while you were talking. So I'm glad that we talked about that, because I think it's important, again, with the questions that people have, that we know what we do, but when you don't know, you have questions. It's very normal. So that thanks for answering that so brilliantly. So what do you think is the biggest challenge that we're facing in society today, and how is it that you are able to help people overcome those challenges? That might be a loaded question, but how can you help with these biggest challenges people have?
Actually, I'm really passionate about that question, and that is really like the most important thing I do. So I'm really glad that is one of your questions. So before a year ago, I would have said the biggest challenge or issue for people, for humanity right now, is stress and stress management. And then last March, our world completely changed. And now I say one of the biggest factors we're all dealing with now is fear. And that has just amplified stress. Like, fear causes more stress. And society was already at a really high stress level. Like, most illnesses, in my belief system, come from stress.
Exactly.
Okay, so I want to talk about, I want to put energy aside, completely, in case that's not anyone's, in their belief system. Let's put that completely aside. And I want to talk about the scientific and medical effects of what stress is, how the body reacts to it, and what that does. And then we'll touch on how I can help with that.
Okay.
So the body operates in two states. How do I say this well? In one or another state at all times. We're either in fight or flight, or we're in rest and repair. There are only two. There's on and there's off. Okay. The medical terms, the sympathetic state is our fight or flight. Okay. Parasympathetic is rest and repair. So when we're in fight or flight, so that's stress. Basically, a threat has posed and our adrenal glands start secreting adrenaline and cortisol. Those are the stress response hormones. Now, what they do is they tell the body, they get blood flow to the muscles, they make us alert, awake, and aware. We're about to defend against a threat. So digestion, healing, cellular repair, they go offline. Everything is focused on life saving. Mm-hmm. But the stress that people are under isn't actually life threatening. It just never goes away. So the body stays in that sympathetic fight or flight state often, or for some people, almost all the time. Mm-hmm. But that state has to turn off for the parasympathetic to take over, that rest and repair. So normally when we sleep, that's when our food digests, is when we're at rest. Our cells repair when we're at rest or at sleep. So we've got to get into that parasympathetic state for the body to heal. Mm-hmm. And so what the modalities and the things I offer reduce stress. Mm-hmm. And so they get people into that parasympathetic state where when your stress is reduced, your healing starts taking over. The body heals itself. It just needs the time and the right environment for us to shift into that rest, digest, and repair state.
Thank
So
you for, I'll interrupt. I know you're not done, but thank you for saying that. The body heals itself. And it's so important that people understand that, because the body is a miraculous machine and it has all the tools within it to heal itself. And it's not a pill, it's not a quick fix. It's just giving it freedom from stress and giving it good food. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going. Keep going.
That really was about it. So again, with my modalities, you know, whether it's a Reiki treatment or a reflexology treatment, you know, whether it's a meditation or one of the videos that I've put out, I'm very fortunate to have a gift that I can kind of bring people's stress levels down, and I can create this space of calm, and their bodies just slip into that healing space. And the body takes over, the mind is quiet, they've gone off, you know, somewhere in their mind. The body gets to chance. It's like, whew, okay, my turn. And the cellular repair starts to happen. And like you said, with food, if we give it good fuel, when you put good gasoline in the car runs well. And if you put dirty, crappy, watered down, rusty gasoline, your engine isn't going to run well for very long.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all right. We'll move away from Reiki for a second, and maybe we won't, because the next question I'm not really sure what the answer is. Maybe Reiki is the answer, but you know, you were mentioning to me before, people always say, why did you move to Yarmouth? And you know, and why, but before that you lived in Peru, and why did you go to Peru, and what did you do there? What was your life like there? It's very interesting. So if you could share a little bit about that.
Okay, I would love to. Thank you. And I'll try and make it brief, because I could go on and on and on, because I loved it. It was wonderful. But initially, why South America in the first place is my whole life, ever since I was like a little kid, I'm going to say maybe even 5 or 6, I wanted to live in South America. And so for me, I call that a calling. It wasn't like I heard words or anything, but that's just that yearning. And I'm sure a lot of people can really relate to that, like lifelong yearning. And so I've always had that call for South America. And over my life, the countries changed. It was, you know, first it was Brazil, and then it was Argentina, and then it was Ecuador for most of my life, and then it was back to Brazil. And Peru really wasn't even in the big picture. Like, I knew Peru was fabulous, Nazca lines and Machu Picchu and all those fabulous things. But recently the call was Brazil. But every time I talked about wanting to go to Peru, and I'm like, no, I meant Brazil. Then I tell another friend about, you know, it won't be long, I'm going to get to Peru. And I'm like, no, I mean Brazil. And this kept happening over and over and over again. And I thought, listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. You're supposed to go to Peru. And I listened to those callings, is what I call them. That's the word I use, the messages I get. They're messages from me. It was coming from my own mouth. Mm-hmm. So Peru it was. I won't go into the details of you know, how I, you know, got there, but decided, yes, I'm finally going to live in South America. I moved to Peru, found this lovely holistic center, got most of my modalities there. I think I was saying like Reiki, yoga, theta, shiatsu, color sound healing, all those modalities I learned there at this center. I also got to offer these modalities, like offer trainings, hold classes and workshops and circles and things. So this is where I got my experience. My initial reason I went there, really, well, besides to live and start a new life, I really wanted to volunteer. So I did a fair bit of volunteer work.
Wow.
And as far as what I've learned, besides the modalities, the really deep things I learned, like humility was one of the biggest things I learned there. Like, it's kind of ugly to say about yourself, but you go there to help. When you really look deeper, you're thinking that somehow you have more than they do. There's this us and them, and that was that deep humility that came in. It's like, who says they aren't doing it right and I'm doing it wrong? So there's this humility.
We learn more about ourselves, I think, when we're in those situations. Yeah.
And another thing that I really took away, like there's so much cultural stuff and spiritual and esoterical things there. And I experienced them and, did some of the teachings there. But what really resonated with me is my spiritual practice that I took there stayed authentic with me. And, I was really glad, it wasn't like, flavor of the month or this is my new thing. It actually strengthened the practice that I had before I went to Peru. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to mention that. It was like really nice to have your beliefs fortified by, practicing other beliefs and then coming back home to what's really true inside you.
Mm-hmm. And the opportunity to have gone there after having wanted to for so long, tied everything together.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you'd asked how I kind of how did I end up in Yarmouth from Peru? Because I had no intention of leaving. I'd opened up a business, had my residency, I was paying taxes, had healthcare, like I was living there, and I didn't have, honestly, any intention of coming back to Canada. But there was this, I'll say it, a calling that said, it's important that you own land in your home country. I was like, but I don't want to live there. But I listened to those things. So on my next trip back, I started exploring, and I'd always known, even when I lived in Canada, I prefer to live on the East Coast, because throughout my life, I've met so many East Coasters, and they are like the nicest people in the world. I swear. I thought if I had to live in Canada again, I'm going to the East Coast. Mm. And I really liked PEI, but they don't have a lot of trees, and I wanted forested land. And so what actually happened, I was in Ireland, and I was walking along near the cliffs, and I looked at the cliff, and I went, that kind of reminds me of Lunenburg. Maybe I should look in Nova Scotia. So which led me to Nova Scotia. And then I just followed where that led me. I looked at 33 different properties over the entire province. And the one that called my heart was in Clare.
Wow.
So I listened. That's how I ended up in Nova Scotia. I listened to my inner voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so we get these messages and we tend to not follow them. We're too busy, or we think that they're just, maybe ridiculous even. Oh, don't be so crazy. You could never do that, or you'd never do this, or you can't do that. But when you follow the signs, however they may come, then look what you've done. Look what you've done.
Yeah. I could have said no to every single one, and it would have been easy.
Yeah. But then what happens?
Nothing.
Right. Nothing. Yeah. And stress builds, I think. When you're not living your true yourself and doing what you love, that builds stress, and stress manifests into disease. So yeah. I do have a couple more questions for you, but you have written a book, Sherri, and I've never really asked you about it. It's called Spirituality for Simon, and you're in the process of writing a sequel. So, what is your book all about? Who is Simon? Is that somebody that you know or knew? Tell us what you can about your book.
Okay. So I started writing a book, and it was about all the things I learned. And I don't mean, modalities and practice and meditation. I just mean like life, day-to-day life stuff about my choices, my attitude, the words I choose, just like real simple, basic stuff. That made a profound change in my life. And, I was not a happy person. I was not the, pleasant person that people know of me today. And so I wanted to share these things. So it's not like a religious path or even really much of a spiritual path. It was just simple choices that made my life so much better, that opened up all these windows of opportunity. And so what I say, that Spirituality for Simon is a book on peace, health, and happiness. And it's a way to get there. Mm-hmm. So I met a fella named Simon when I was in South America, and we started having a conversation about Reiki over dinner. Okay, so, and I'm used to talking to my spiritual family, and they get all my jargon and stuff. And Simon he's like, what's Reiki? And so what happened is we never had a conversation because we could never find common ground for this conversation to start with. And so what Simon did was he changed the audience in my book. And so this is the conversation I wish I could have had with Simon.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. So can you give us a hint of what the sequel is all about?
Well, yes, I will. I was always kind of hesitate talking about the title, but I just let ego and worry out of the way. It's going to be called Simon Says, Tell Me More.
Oh, and I love it. I love it.
It's going to go deeper. So now, in Spirituality for Simon, I don't use any jargon. It's like basic. It's how I speak. It's just regular language. So for Simon Says, Tell Me More, I'm going to go deeper into, some practices, start maybe using, taking the vocabulary a little bit deeper on the spiritual path. And we'll see what it looks like when I'm done.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your book is available for purchase, Sherri?
Yes, it is. I've got it at the Yarmouth Market every Saturday. I'm there from 9 till 1 every Saturday. That's in town at Yarmouth, 15 Hawthorne Street. It's also available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. There's a couple holistic centers in Ontario that have copies, but you can get it online or get a copy from me at the market, or I'll mail copies out. So just get a hold of me at elementalgifts.ca, or give me a call or come visit me at the market one Saturday.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to ask you if you wanted to tell the audience what else you have at the market. It's a good opportunity to share that as well if you'd like.
Well, my original goal for the market was to promote my treatments and Reiki trainings. But I also like to make meditation products. So I do mala beads and chakra beads. So they're
beautiful.
Thank you. So they are like physical things that I have for sale at the market.
Yeah, I really like, and I must get one when I'm there. I think I'll be there next weekend. The chakra keychain.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, is that, you're calling it a keychain?
Well, I've got bracelets and there's keychains, and some of them, I wanted to make a meditation tool with, also a practical purpose, so for someone's not into chakras or into meditation, but they like this really pretty keychain, like it has a dual purpose, or it's a nice bracelet, or it's a nice necklace. If they don't want to meditate with it, it has, a secondary purpose.
Right, right. They're really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
We're just about wrapping things up, I think. And is there something that I haven't asked you that you wanted to talk about, or any final words that you have to say before we end our conversation?
Yeah, and I appreciate this opportunity. So if I, it's best to not give advice to people unless they ask. Okay. But if I did have one piece of advice, I'm going to, say that Janice has asked, and my one piece of advice would be love what you do. Love what you do. It is so important. When you think about the 24 hours in a day, 8 hours we spend at work, 8 hours we spend sleeping, that leaves 8 hours for the rest of our lives. It is so important that we love what we do all the time. When you love what you do, your physiology changes. And what I mean by that is your health, your well-being, that wellness. When you're happy, you're well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, love what you do.
Great.
Janice, I just wanted to thank you, for this opportunity. And I want to bring to everyone's attention that, Janice isn't here promoting her business. Janice is here promoting wellness. Thank you, Janice.
Oh, you're welcome. So thank you very much, Sherri, for taking the time to join me today and answering all my questions. I think it was amazing, and I'm sure our audience has learned so much. So I just recap a little bit about my project, Janice Inspiring Change 2021. I'm going to be doing some interviews for the rest of the month and trying to bring you some practitioners like Sherri who are inspiring others to make change in their way. And so please tune in. I have another guest tomorrow, and I'll be posting all about Maggie soon today. And if anyone has any questions, they can contact me at janiceinspiringchange.com. And thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.